I want to try to explain some of the pastoral burdens that motivated the work that went into this Restore Bible study. And if some of those motivations or burdens connect with you, then you might want to consider getting a copy of the book yourself to look at, or at least helping us spread the word. First of all, the desire to connect with unsaved people at a heart level. I've been pastoring now for about 12 years, and one of the things that's happened is I've gotten a little frustrated with church advertising. There's only a very small segment of the population that's likely to respond to an advertisement inviting them to church. You just long for a better, more meaningful way to connect with people. Not that advertising is wrong at all. I also got weary of community events. And again, not that they're wrong at all, but you can only give out so many church frisbees and do so much face painting before you just are, again, you're really longing for a more serious conversation with some people about what's really going on in their lives. I've also been involved with quite a bit of church planning and church planners in various parts of the country. And it just seems like a lot of men are having a very difficult time building significant relationships with unsaved people in their community. So there were those different kind of burdens and desires going on, but then also God, as part of His just starting to grow me up pastorally, He took me down a path of opening my eyes to see the brokenness in our church and in our community. That involved getting started with hospital chaplaincy and a whole bunch of other individual situations that the Lord put us through that really helped open our eyes. And at that point, the desire began to really grow to create some materials for discipleship and outreach that connected at this point. And I mean, the point of our brokenness and our pain. You know, that is what I most directly share in common with the unsaved people that are in my life. We're all living in a broken world where life hurts. And so, as pastors, we all long to see this process of evangelism, conversion, baptism, growth and maturity in ministry. We want to see people go through that process in our ministries, but how do we get started? Where are the significant evangelistic contacts? And I'm just suggesting that one of the places where we can most significantly connect is through the brokenness of a hurting world. A second burden is to give struggling people in the church a setting in which they can open up. Sometimes Christian churches, and maybe especially more conservative churches, have a reputation for being places where everybody acts like they're okay. And I'm not sure that's entirely the fault of the church. I think that's partly just human nature. But it has made me want to consider carefully whether or not we are giving the people in our church good opportunities for them to open up about how they're really doing. I mean, what if they're struggling with depression or suicidal thoughts or loneliness or marital strife or debt or panic attacks or shame or addiction or bitterness or eating disorders or gambling or grief or some kinds of mental illness in their family? I mean, those things sound a little scary, yet they're very common in this broken world. And so here we have a wide open door for God's truth to come with power and with hope if people are willing to open up about what's really going on. So the Restore study is designed to be a platform that helps people recognize that the Bible talks honestly and openly about the brokenness of this world, and so it's okay for us to talk honestly about it too, and to come to God together as needy people who need Him and His help and His hope. So first of all, I had a burden to connect with unsaved people at a heart level, a burden to give struggling people in the church a setting in which they could open up. Third, a desire to reinforce a theology of suffering. Few of our jobs as pastors are more important than preparing our people to suffer. Or to say it another way, equipping our people with a theology of suffering, so that when they go through those trials that prove the genuineness of their faith, they can stand with confidence and shine as testimonies for the glory of God. If we were to describe the Restore study theologically, this is what it would be. It really is a theology of suffering, put in the form of a down-to-earth Bible study. Another desire is to develop the church family, the whole church family, for ministry to hurting people. You know, it's one of the foundational concepts of a biblical philosophy of ministry that pastors are called to equip the people to do the work of ministry, or the whole body needs to cause the growth of the body. And that is a philosophical thing, but more than that, it's just a practical thing. If your church grows in any even small amount, you quickly discover that there are too many people. There are too many ministry needs for you to possibly keep up with. And so you have to do what God called you to do, and that is really develop people for ministry to other people. But how can you equip people for ministry? And how can you possibly keep up to the demands if the perception is that anytime something goes wrong in somebody's life, they need the pastor's help? See, we have to develop the entire church family for ministry to other hurting people. And I know it's oversimplified, but you could say we're the coaches, they're the disciple makers who must be equipped to bring God's truth to hurting people, both in evangelism and in discipleship. So it is such a wide open door for ministry, yet it's understandably scary and intimidating for most Christians. Hurting people scare them, and we tend to try to stay away. And so they need to be trained, and they need tools that they can use, and that's where the Restore study hopes to be a step toward both of those things. A tool that can be used to train, and then be a tool that they use. So picture yourself taking a small group of people in your church, maybe people who you know already have a heart for making disciples of other people, and you lead them through this Restore study. They do the work on their own study during the week, and then you gather with them and you coach them through the material. In the process, you're teaching them a theology of suffering. You're helping them with the trials in their own lives. You're coaching them for ministry to other people. And you're equipping them with a tool that they can use to bring truth to hurting people. Then imagine some of them starting to take that material to other people. Maybe they lead a study themselves, or they just begin to use it one-on-one with other people. Now ministry is starting to multiply, even in the lives of hurting people. So whether you actually lead groups like that yourself or not, you can, I think of a basic order of events like this. Someone in your church takes the Restore study. Somehow in a group or one-on-one or even just themselves, they go through the study. Then God uses it to help them learn and grow through their own brokenness. But at the same time, God also uses it to give them courage that maybe God could use them to help other people. And then they have the course itself that is now a tool that they could use, even just one-on-one, to help other people. So if that kind of idea connects with you, if that fits with your philosophy of ministry and how you're trying to develop people to bring the gospel to others, then maybe you want to take a look at this course or help us spread the word to others. Take a look at the video that's 15 reasons why we're excited about this course. I think that might help connect some other things together for you.